Welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije-Ochi. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta/live.ng or any of our social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. The federal government is building a statewide and international coalition against wild polio virus, looking to end the scourge by the end of this year. At a meeting held with state governors and development partners at the Villa, Vice President Kashim Shettima says combating the virus and changing the narrative in states where the prevalence is still high will require well-coordinated inputs of government at all levels and renewed commitment of development partners. He said government will ensure that resources provided by development partners are utilized for the purpose they are meant for. The meeting, which held behind closed doors, took submissions from state governors in order to appraise peculiar situations across the country. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akome, is urging Britain to ease visa regulations affecting Nigerian students in the UK as he solicits a stronger bilateral relations between both countries. The SGF was speaking when he received the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery. Kenneth Nanim reports.
Nigeria and Britain have enjoyed mutual bilateral relations in various sectors over the years. The visit to the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation by the British High Commissioner to Nigeria is to streamline areas of interest by the new administration for robust bilateral ties that will be beneficial to both countries. The SGF was quick to point to job creation, agriculture, energy, security and education as areas requiring more support from the British government to realize the cardinal objectives of the Tinubu-led administration.
If you ask Nigerians what they want to go for education, they will say Britain. That's the love we have for you. It's the mutual. And why you can give us scholarship to it. At the end of the day, this bond will be stronger. Today, you have Boko Haram, you have all this. There are so many conspiracy theories on the issue of Boko Haram. And sometimes I say, where is Britain? If that is true, where is Britain?
The British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery, is certain of the working relationship between both countries. Acknowledging President Tinubu's political will to take tough decisions, he believes will push Nigeria to the path of progress and development.
The fact that you are a major democracy makes you more and more important in global geopolitics, and we would like to strengthen our foreign policy dialogue. So we understand your priorities, your interests, your perspectives better. I will do my best to try and make sure we seize the opportunities that these reforms will create in due course.
The British High Commissioner is also appreciative of the role of the Office of the SGF in terms of projects and programs coordination and implementation. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres is proposing a Sustainable Development Goals (SDG) stimulus of $500 billion per year for investments in sustainable development and climate action as part of concrete steps global leaders can take right now to re-examine and reconfigure the global financial architecture for the 21st century. Onengie Fineface reports on the UN scribe's address to the Paris Summit on a new global financing pact.
International financial systems in crisis, laments United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who notes that halfway to the 2030 deadline, the Sustainable Development Goals are drifting further away by the day. It is clear, he says, that the international financial architecture has failed in its mission to provide a global safety net for developing countries. But as the world works for the deep reforms that are needed, leaders can take urgent action today to meet the urgent needs of developing and emerging economies.
And they can put a price on carbon and end fossil fuel subsidies and repurpose what is gained with those measures towards sustainable and productive uses. And the list of things we can do now can go on and on and on.
The UN scribe wants world leaders to establish a time-effective debt relief mechanism that supports payment suspensions, longer lending terms and lower rates, including for middle-income countries with particular vulnerabilities in relation to climate. Developed economies, he suggests, should scale up development and climate finance by increasing the capital base and changing the business model of multilateral development banks. Taken together, he believes, these steps would help to beat poverty and hunger, uplift developing and emerging economies, and support investments in health, education, and climate action. Onengie Fineface, NTA.
The federal government says it has followed with consternation the viral story of the purported 114% increase in the salary of the president, vice president, elected federal and state political office holders, and judicial officers, and wishes to state that President Bola Tinubu has not approved any salary increase and no such proposal has been brought before him for consideration. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President's Special Duties, Communications and Strategy, Dele Alake, says the Presidency recognizes that it is within the constitutional remit of Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC, to propose and fix salaries and allowances of political office holders and judicial officers, and such cannot come to effect until it has equally been considered and approved by the President. He said it is important to know that RMAFC, through its public relations manager, has responded to this fake story being circulated and has already set the record straight. He added that the unfounded story gaining prominence on social media and in a section of mainstream media again brings to the fore the danger fake news poses to the society and national well-being. The National Assembly has been urged to take proactive steps to reform the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in order to strengthen the judicial arm of government to function optimally. This is part of the views of guests from Good Morning Nigeria. Dennis Temple monitored.
Since 1999, the judicial arm of government has been grappling to build a sustainable system that is completely independent of other arms of government. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria observe that the judicial arm is still at the experimental stage.
If the executive and the legislature had performed 1/4 of the performance of the judiciary to our admiration, would we have been in this situation now? Even during the military era, the judiciary kept its toe up, not down.
Observing that the level of challenges outweigh the output of the judicial system, they agree that the system must alienate itself from the control of the political class in order to function optimally.
It's not judicial capture, it's the constitution that created that ambience for the political elites to take advantage of. Interfere unduly in the affairs of the judiciary in a manner that they like, subject to their own whims and caprices. It is not strange to have appointments to judicial officers from the executive. That's the practice in the United States.
I think you see situations where virtually the senior lawyers are all scampering to, who is richer to compete among themselves on who is richer than the other private jets here and there. None of them, well, to a large extent, is really devoting time towards the defense and the sustenance of the independence of the judiciary.
It is the expectation that the judicial arm of government must function independently to meet the aspirations of the people. Dennis Temple, NTA News.
The National Union of Air Transport Employees has threatened to shut down all the airports in the country if the proposed concessions of some airports is allowed to go on. The national president of the union, Nabwe Ben, stated this during a protest at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, aimed at showing displeasure over the process of the concession of some airports a few months ago. The union insists that all labor issues must be settled first and guidelines should be adhered to before concessions take place.
We are pleading with government to change their mind about this airport concession. We want the airport to be developed. Why we are not at war with MM2 because of the terminal concession is because they built it themselves and they hired Nigeria. We should build new terminals instead of concessioning the existing terminal.
According to the law, you cannot carry out a concession without resolving labor issues. And nobody, the concessionaire or any organized form, have the labor issues been discussed and agreed upon at this point in time.
More news, we now join Hingino in our Lagos Network Center for more on Nationwide. Hello Hingino, it's over to you.
Hello, Lydia. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has advised members of the public to always cross-check the genuineness of food before consumption to reduce health complications associated with fake or expired products. Olumide Guntola spoke with some stakeholders on ways of cultivating this safe practice.
If I have to get a drug, that's one of the first things I check. The expiry date and also the NAFDAC number.
You carry the carton to wash it, to look at it, whether it's okay or it's not okay, or it's expiring.
I don't normally check on food like that, but on drug, I do sometimes.
These narratives represent opinion of some Nigerians, a scenario experts condemned in strong terms due to the dangers associated with this way of life. To change the trend is the essence of this meeting, chaired by NAFDAC Director General Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, in which she singled out food consumed in local restaurants and individual homes.
Don't think that because you are eating something is so salty that it is good. No. If you keep doing that every day, it's going to damage the heart. Don't take food that is too sweet, that has a lot of sugar. There's a limit, daily limit of allowance that one should use. So when we eat, whether noodles or curry or whatever, please eat informatively.
The agency also paraded a gang of 2 suspected fake drug dealers who were arrested for illegal importation, distribution and sales of unregistered and expired energy drink in Onitsha, Anambra State. Further investigation led to a warehouse in Abia State, where evidence of revalidation of the expiring date of the drink was established. In Lagos, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
The VAT Direct initiative of the Federal Inland Revenue Service is complementing efforts to block leakages while incorporating more Nigerians into the tax net. As a way of facilitating rapid results, the agency is collaborating with Market Traders Association of Nigeria with the hope of bringing on board 40 million Nigerians from the non-formal sector. Joel Mubola reports.
The 3-day engagement with members of the Market Traders Association of Nigeria and other key partners is to ensure all stakeholders are on the same page for seamless payment of tax. The chairman, FIRS Muhammad Nami, says the VDI is technology-driven with a monitoring and evaluation team to be set up to ensure each free collection of the revenue in various markets.
It's going to ensure transparency and accountability. Our in-house developed software called Tax Pro Max is going to have direct interface with the technology to be deployed for purpose of enumeration, for purpose of payment of the VAT, and for purpose of reporting the VAT to be collected on a daily basis. We want to believe the value addition is going to move our tax to GDP going forward.
The VAT Direct initiative, according to the director in charge of VAT, eliminates multiple taxation and ensure all taxes are directly paid to the coffers of government, unlike the old system which is bedeviled with several loopholes. Hence, many traders pay their taxes to unauthorized persons, which affects the revenue base of government. As partners in progress, the Market Traders Association of Nigeria promised to enlighten members on the need for prompt payment of tax.
We will tell our people the lesson we got from these people now. Then they said that if it's either you pay by monthly or by weekly, and the tax is very, very low.
Tax experts agreed that the initiative will improve the tax to GDP ratio in line with global best practice. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
That's it from here. We will take a break now. Nationwide continues with Sadia and Sokoto shortly. But before then, do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates.
Have you joined us in Sokoto? The United Nations Children Emergency Fund, UNICEF, has offered more support to the existing humanitarian services in Sokoto State as Governor Ahmed Aliu's priority in the social sector tallies with UNICEF focus on most of its interventions. Country representative of the UNICEF in Nigeria, Christian Munduet, stated this while congratulating Governor Ahmed Aliu Sokoto during a courtesy call at Government House, Sokoto. Dalata Abdullahi has more.
The country representative Christian Munduet enumerated some of the humanitarian services the fund offers in Nigeria and Sokoto in particular that include eradication of polio, immunization against childhood killer diseases, and other health-related interventions. She said UNICEF is ready to continue supporting Nigeria in the fight against child and maternal mortality, nutrition, birth registration, among others, as one of the targets of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. She expressed the fund's readiness to support education and healthcare as they conform with the governor's 9-point agenda.
Nigeria is one of what we can say UNICEF's priorities because Nigeria can drive a change in Africa.
Governor Ahmed Aliu Sokoto expressed gratitude to UNICEF for its humanitarian assistance to people of the state and solicited for more support in areas that need urgent attention.
Expand more hands in providing humanitarian services that are geared towards achievement of this administration 9-point agenda.
He assured UNICEF that his administration will provide conducive environment for such interventions. The UNICEF country representative also visited some health facilities that had benefited from the fund's interventions. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Sokoto State government is to support organizations aimed at improving the well-being of the people in the state. Governor Ahmed Aliu Sokoto stated this during inauguration of Sokoto Professional Network in Sokoto. Zainab Said Abdul Nasser completes the report.
Sokoto Professionals Network is a voluntary, non-partisan and non-profit association that brings together indigents of Sokoto State who are professionals in different fields of human endeavor. It is aimed at coordinating and executing laudable programs and projects to complement government's efforts in developing the state. Chairman Sokoto Professionals Network, Zayanu Tambari Yabo, said the move seeks collaboration between members, Sokoto State government and development partners within and outside Nigeria towards addressing challenges facing the state.
When people come together, they work together, then they can achieve more together.
Governor Ahmed Ali Sokoto, represented by Nasiru Aliyu Dansoho, commended the association for its foresight, as this will complement the 9-point agenda of the administration towards improving well-being of the people in the state. He pledged collaboration with similar organizations towards making Sokoto State great.
I would like to call on all other unions and associations who are committed to the development of Sokoto State to come forward with a meaningful program that will enhance micro and macroeconomic growth of the state.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar, represented by District Head of Gagi Sani Umar Jabi, spoke on attitudinal change among youth to make the state better. Featured at the event was official unveiling of the association Sokoto Professionals Network with the theme supporting the development of Sokoto State through effective collaboration and partnership. In Sokoto, Zainab Said Abdul Nasir, NTA News.
And that's it from Sokoto for now. Lydia is back to you in Abuja.
Many thanks, Sadia. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has inaugurated various peer review mechanism committees on sustainable development goals implementation by elected leaders. Chairman of the council, Yabagi Sani, inaugurated the committees in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf was there.
I hereby inaugurate these committees.
The Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet and ensure that everyone enjoys peace and prosperity by 2030. Party leaders said they have a crucial role to play in the implementation of the goals. Proposing a peer review mechanism to go around the country, IPAC believes is the way to go.
It provides an opportunity for our governors to learn from each other, share best practices, and identify areas where they need to improve. Through the peer review mechanism, our elected members can work together to identify the challenges and opportunities in their respective states and develop strategies and activities that will help achieve the inaugural speech promises, party manifesto, and the SDGs.
The council emphasized that party leaders have a responsibility to ensure that policies and programs of elected members are implemented and as well aligned with the SDGs towards achieving the targets set out in the various political parties' manifestos and the SDGs. The peer review mechanism is a tool that will help IPAC to assess progress of elected members. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
In line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 2, aimed at attaining a world free of hunger before 2030, key players in agriculture are advocating gender equity along the entire food production chain. Elizabeth Amori reports that this was at a forum at the instance of Read and Earn Federation on Inclusive Farming in Nigeria.
Most of women farmers in sub-Saharan Africa are hindered by a lot of factors which range from lack of access to land, finance, education, and disparity. These are part of reasons donor agencies and other stakeholders in the agri sector are converged on Abuja to draw up strategies to make farming inclusive.
At your age, if you go into plantations today, you are making fortunes for the future.
If we can solve challenges like access to finance, land, technology, training, etc., women will be able to dominate the agricultural value chain for our advantage.
Speakers at the forum said that young women in agriculture should be encouraged through self-development programs to promote green economy.
Embrace agriculture as a very important opportunity for contributing to the development of the society.
We are optimistic that this transformative approach
would enhance the acceleration of past progress made by putting us on track towards achieving the goal of strengthening smallholders, women's livelihood, and resilience in Nigeria.
This initiative, they believe, will address unemployment and promote food sufficiency within the sub-region. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
The National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, has donated 5 million naira and other food items to the Kogi State government as palliatives for the 2022 flood victims in the state. The managing director of NIWA, George Mogalu, who presented the relief materials to government officials in Lokoja, expressed the organization's readiness to collaborate with relevant stakeholders in order to mitigate potential impact of the anticipated flood on vulnerable communities in the state. Correspondent Solomon Aidain reports.
The devastation caused by the 2022 flood in various local government areas of Kogi State and its severe impact on the environment and the livelihoods of the affected people cannot be overstated. In line with its corporate social responsibility and to address this issue, the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, has donated 5 million naira, 400 bags of rice and beans, 200 cartons of noodles, and 200 liters of vegetable oil as palliatives to alleviate the economic hardships faced by the flood victims.
We brought some food items and also some money, which we have given to Kogi State government to support them. It's not only to Kogi State government. We're doing the same thing in 11 states that were badly affected by the flood.
In addition to the relief materials, NIWA is currently engaged in the desalinating of water channels in flood-prone communities. NIWA has also expressed willingness to collaborate with relevant stakeholders to minimize the potential impact of the anticipated 2023 flood on vulnerable communities.
We'll also provide alternative means of movement. You can take that to the bank because we are fully aware that it will happen. Our vessels will be made available to the people. We'll also provide comfort zones where people can move to. All right? But meanwhile now, before the flood comes, we are doing a lot of sensitization that will involve people, getting people to relocate, getting people to be aware of what they should do when the flood comes.
Brought this, we really appreciate. But what about the one we are entering into? Another rainy season is here. The problem is right before us. How do we tackle it?
Commissioner Omofaye also assured the public that the government has taken adequate measures to mitigate flooding this year. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehin. And
back in Abuja, civil servants have been encouraged to imbibe the spirit of excellence and diligence in the discharge of their duties for an effective service delivery. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Dr. Nasir Sani Gwarzo, stated this while acknowledging their outstanding performance in the just concluded FSC SSIP 25 Open competition organized by the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation. This is part of the Federal Civil Service ongoing reforms aimed at repositioning the civil service to be at par with best global practices for better service delivery across all sectors.
The nation of civil servant elevates your status in the eyes of the public. It's not just what you do, what you deliver. It's what you are seen to be doing, what people perceive about you. How can we do that without improving capacity?
I therefore urge departments units that have no showing in the competition to understand that reforms in the civil service has come to stay. And as such, all hands should be on deck to ensure that the ministries above board are more NGOs.
The open competition for all staff of the ministry and its agencies was on the memorization of the 6 pillars of FCSSIP 25, and its enablers and winners emerged in line with one of the core values of service, which is meritocracy. Gabriel in Port Harcourt is standing by with more stories from the Daxis. Hello, Gabriel.
You, Lydia. The Rivers State Police Command says it will continue to intensify efforts towards achieving a crime-free environment The Commissioner of Police, Emeka Nwonyi, said this while parading suspects arrested for various crimes in Port Harcourt. Emmanuel Dene brings us to
Reports of the Nigeria Police Force Rivers State Command has continued to record major breakthrough in the fight against criminality. The latest is the arrest and parade of some cultists, kidnappers, car snatching syndicate, and other suspected criminals allegedly responsible for various crimes in the state. They were arrested between the 16th and 18th of June 2023 at Rukboku, Rumukrushi, Station Road, Port Harcourt, Obiwali Road, and Bunutai. According to the Commissioner of Police, Emeka Nwonyi, investigation is ongoing to arrest other members of the criminal gangs.
Curbing crime in our society is a collective job. I am calling on residents of the state to be open and supportive to security operatives in the fight against crime and criminality.
Items recovered from them include live cartridges, English-made Beretta pistol, locally made pistol, and masks. Meanwhile, Rivers State Commissioner of Police Emeka Nwonyi says there is no team known as the Special Anti-Robbery Squad in the state. The CP's action follows social media reports that the squad has been terrorizing residents of the state.
There is currently no team by the name Special Anti-Robbery Squad in Rivers State, and there will never be.
The Commissioner of Police calls for cooperation from the public to enable the police to carry out its duties effectively. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lede, NTA News.
Stakeholders have expressed concern over deficiencies in the primary level of education, which they note must be effectively tackled to save the system from collapse. They made this observation known while speaking with Ogede Nyekwere in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The reports.
I like learning in school.
I've been learning well. Primary education is that stream of education that offers the child the opportunity to acquire basic skills and knowledge that the child requires to cope with everyday challenges of life. Its importance cannot be undermined as it ensures that children develop appropriately in their social, cognitive, cultural, emotional, and physical talents to their full potentials. This stream unarguably provides the foundation for future learning.
If we don't pay attention to this primary education, secondary cannot move well, because primary prepare children for secondary and affect the university level.
So the deficiency will bring a lot of crime in the society. It will make the society not to produce a reputable character.
Latest developments have, however, thrown up questions as to the quality of teaching and learning at the primary school level, going by the quality of students churned out annually from secondary schools and even the universities, some of whom can barely defend their certificates. What exactly could be the missing link?
I find that there are certain political incursions in the flow of system. So if you have someone who is the leader of the people, who doesn't have passion and insight in the organization and the pattern of organization of basic education for positive outcome, basic education, primary education will suffer in those areas.
As the present administration settles into the business of governance, Nigerians are requesting that necessary attention be given to repositioning the primary education system. In Port Harcourt, Ogede Nyekwere, NTA News.
And that is it from here. Nationwide continues with Suleiman in Kaduna after this break.
Thanks for staying with us. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the February 25th election, Atiku Abubakar, in continuation of his evidence before the Presidential Election Petition Court Thursday, has called his 26th witness, who is a forensic expert. Judiciary Desk correspondent Osna Nyebe reports that giving evidence was the 26th witness by name Hitler Ongwala, who said that he is a digital forensic analyst. He tendered 7 volumes of forensic reports and nexus on findings arrived at after allegedly carrying out investigation on the functionality of 110 BVAs and IREF devices in the Federal Capital Territory through Chris Uche, SAN. This was after adopting his statement on oath, which is his evidence in the petition. The reports were admitted in evidence by the court, but not without being objected to by counsel to INEC, President Tinubu, and the All Progressives Congress, who are respondents in the matter. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has deployed 115 observers, one of the largest of its missions to the Sierra Leone general elections due to hold this Saturday. Charles Alpha now reports from Freetown.
There has been a bit of anxiety in the air in the last few days, and what the ECOWAS election observation mission is doing as part of its mandate is to douse the tension and steady the tides of the democracy that is making steady progress in Sierra Leone. First was the meeting of its election observers, members of the National Security, representatives of the Political Party Regulations Commission and the African Union.
So as Africans, we want Sierra Leone to conduct a peaceful, democratic, fair and free election.
Head of mission Mohamed Ibn Chambers believes Sierra Leone has long moved from bullets to exercising power of the ballot and wants stakeholders to consolidate on these gains since the country's independence by deepening the peace and, more importantly, provide equal grounds for all to exercise their voting rights.
The last few days, we saw a rise in tension. The opposition raised some issues that were of concern to them, but there was efforts by national institutions to engage in mediation between the opposition and the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone in particular.
Now, 5 successive elections since the Sierra Leonean War in 2002. The ECOWAS election observation mission shows the level of progress that this country has made in the last few years. And they are now asking critical stakeholders not to allow the tension that has been brewing among state actors in the past few days to escalate going into this Saturday's general election. From Freetown, Sierra Leone, Charles Alpha, NTA.
Thanks, Charles. And as the curtains fall on the NTA 2023 Heads of Finance Conference in Abuja, the Director General Salihu Abdulhamid Dembos wants participants to apply their newfound insights and knowledge in driving the authority to greatness. Neka Oko reports.
For 2 days, the Conference of Heads of Finance and Chief Accountants cast the spotlight on the reevaluation of property, plant and equipment as tool for effective implementation of the International Public Sector Accounting Standards, IPSAS. Serious business, as participants shared their experiences and insights, suggesting ways to improve the authority's financial status. With a pat on the back, the Director General says NTA cannot go less.
I appreciate you for coming in your numbers, despite the financial difficulties that you go through in your various stations, but to also remind you that as custodians of the funds of the authority, we must do what is right and ethical in your various professions.
For the participants, it was a message well understood.
What they talk us in asset evaluation, these are things that we assume we know it, but we don't know it. We didn't know it. So now that they talk us about it, we shall now go home, pass knowledge to our people.
We learn especially how to evaluation of our assets. We are given an insight into the whole process, and with it now we can go back to our stations and be able to be a good financial manager.
So as I'm living here, I know that everything, even the fixed assets, I can handle them well.
The conference might have come and gone. Organizers say the knowledge, connections and impact will no doubt translate to to positive results.
There are certain things we discussed at this conference, which is the reconciliation of our accounts, especially for external reporting. We have moved a step, and we expect to improve on those steps.
In Abuja, Neka Oku, NTA News.
Kaduna is next on our next stop, and Suleiman is standing by with more stories on Nationwide. Suleiman? Stories on Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Lydia, and welcome. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been described as a determined and pragmatic leader who will change the tide for the betterment of Nigeria. Director General, Confederation of All Progressives Congress Support Groups, Kailani Muhammad, said President Tinubu has achieved a lot in the short period he has been in the office. Haruna Muhammad reports that the APC stakeholder was speaking in a rally held in Kaduna.
About the state of the nation. And so far, so good.
The Director General, Confederation of All Progressive Congress Party Support Groups, Kailani Muhammad, addressing the press in Kaduna, acknowledged President Tinubu as the best man for the job owing to the laudable achievements towards reforming the country, having been in office barely a month ago. Kailani says policies signed, such as the education loan, electricity bill, and subsidy removal, are geared towards improving the well-being of citizens, adding that Nigerians will feel the impact at various levels in no distant time and will place Nigeria on an autopilot for transformation.
Refineries have the lifespan of over 100 years. They have just spent about 42 or 43 years. So with good turnaround, we still have 60-something years. If we want to build a modular refineries in addition, that is a different case. But we have to maintain them. When we are there, we are maintaining them. 40 days turnaround maintenance, 3 days blackout. And with sincerity and honesty, when they say change pump A, don't go and repair it, change it.
He applauded the investigations going on at various levels and the latest development in the security architecture of the country.
If we can come together and form one formidable force, we will finish insecurity in this country. So let's hope things will go well.
The Director General urged the President not to be distracted as he is on course in delivering renewed hope promised to Nigerians. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Kano Agro-Pastoral Development Project is exploring collaborative options of making crop farming a highly profitable business venture by addressing notable practices that result in inefficiency and harvest of losses. This the project believes tallies with the economic realities of the day as the Tinubu administration resorts to backward integration of economic sector. Yohannes Hassan has the rest of the story.
The rainy season in the northwest has fully established, with farmers moving to their farms to do what they know best. However, the traditional farming practices occasioned by the use of local seeds have been affecting outputs from farmlands. The Kano Agro-Pastoral Development Project, in collaboration with researchers, agro-dealers, and extension agents, is bent on ensuring farmers in the semi-arid tropics produce optimally to meet the country's needs and improve the economy through modern practices.
We are doing all these years, the basics is to do demonstration. What we are trying to do at all time is to make sure that we demonstrate those inputs.
We decided to delay it so that it will coincide with the time that the rain is well established and they can now do their harrowing and ridging and plant even within 2 or 3 days of rainfall. And with this, we have not allowed them to waste seeds that are of value.
Farmers in the 3 senatorial zones of Kano State have so far been acquainted with modern methods in addition to introduction to inputs and linkages to extension agents. In Kano, Yohannes Hassanbaro, NTA News.
And with that, report is back to Lydia in Abuja for more stories on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Suleiman. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, says the Tinubu administration expects a higher level of loyalty courage, and professionalism to move the force to enviable heights. He said this at the force headquarters Abuja while acknowledging efforts by top officers who made the force proud in the line of duty. Francis Form has that.
Lately, Warri in Delta State recorded some security challenges, which makes it difficult for the indigents to observe festivities in an atmosphere of peace. But today, the people of Warri can sleep with their eyes closed, thanks to the officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force, under Muazu Mohammed as area commander, for successfully restoring peace in the area. Today, Mohammed and other senior officers who met the force proud are decorated with their new ranks.
I will never let down the members of the public. I will never allow this, my catalogue of good records, to have some cracks. I'm going to redouble my effort in fighting crime. I'm going to, as the IG said, I will chase the criminals like a tiger.
I want to pledge on behalf of all of us our absolute and unalloyed loyalty to the Inspector General of Police.
Reward for hard work, they say, is more work. Acting IGP Kayode Egbetokun reminded the officers that most of them will be deployed to critical duty posts where their strength of character and professionalism will be optimally put to test.
As you all move to the next rank in your career progression, you must be prepared to discharge the schedules of your new rank within the dictates of the rule of law and expectations of the citizens. Demonstrate exceptional critical thinking ability. Manifest sound professional judgment in all your decisions and exhibit high strategic management and operational capacity.
Deputy President of the Senate, governors of Imo and Akwa Ibom State call on senior officers to do more for their service to the country.
Face the problem frontally and deal with it so that we can have a peaceful country and a country that will have economic buoyancy.
About 2 DIGs, 14 AIGs, 22 CPs were decorated. Francis from NTA News.
Next is Sports Update.
Bendel Insurance defeated Enugu Rangers by a lone goal to emerge winners of the Federation Cup at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba, Delta State. In their third meeting in the final of the oldest club competition in the country, Imade Osarenko converted from the penalty spot in the 4th minute of first half added time after Chinemerem Ugweze was sent off for a second bookable offense. Bendel Insurance will now play in the CAF Confederation Cup next season alongside Rivers United, while Nigeria League champions Egimba are in the CAF Champions League with Remo Stars.
Celebration will go on and on and on and on, and they have deserved it.
In the women's category, Bayelsa Queens retained their title after defeating Rivers Angels 4-2 via penalties following a goalless scoreline in regulation time. Team Nigeria to the tech ball event of Africa Beach Games in Hammamet, Tunisia, continue to intensify preparations ahead of their opening contest June 23, where Nigeria #1 Victor Oyemade will hope to qualify for a slot for the men's singles at World Beach Games slated for Bali, Indonesia, August 5 to 12. 3 tech bowlers and 1 official arrived in the North African country earlier on Wednesday with determination to make podium finishes in men's singles, men's doubles and mixed doubles events, as Team Nigeria targets improving on a second place finish at the 2019 edition of the Games, which held in Seoul, Cape Verde. In tennis, 5-time champion Venus Williams and former world #3 Elena Svitolina have wildcard entries into Wimbledon, which serves off July 3 to 16. For the 3-year-old Venus, ranked 697th in the world, returns to action this month at the Birmingham Classic after a 5-month injury layoff. With sports updates, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
And that concludes Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Thank you for your time and attention. I am Lydia Odijochi. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Goodbye.